Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott, and this is dedicated to all those spirits out there who believe life is meant to be magical and fun. Here we venture to share the very mysteries of self and reality. My purpose is to help light that spark inside of you, to reawaken your sense of fascination and awe towards the world. I'm going to try to help you hack reality and unleash your potential and open unlimited possibilities of wealth, health, and relationships in your life. Today's episode will be the grief meditation. I've recently suffered a terrible loss. A close family member that was the best of us. Somebody that I raised with my kids, saw them at every level of their life, and was just incredible, was an incredible boy. And I'm feeling great grief, having a hard time. And I just got done reading my sister's book, which I recommend. It's on Amazon, Finding Joy After Loss, My Journey Through Grief. And I got to thinking about all the times I'd felt deep grief in my life and the loss that I've had in relationships, when I lost my grandfather and my mother and my dad, when I lost my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, out of the blue, when you lose pets. So much loss that we suffer in this life. We are not living without suffering this grief. And the goal of this podcast is to help you hack your reality. And a lot of times we have grief that we hold on to, that destroys our lives, that pulls us into a reality that we don't want to remain in. And the people that we lost, or the animals that we lost, would never have wanted us to face that reality. Don't let this terrible loss snowball and become something much, much worse. And so I wanted to create a meditation for this. One of the most frustrating things when I see that somebody's lost somebody, a family member, a friend, a pet, I always wanted to say more than just, my prayers are with you, and I love you, and I'm so sorry, I feel terrible. What do you say? But you know that pain when somebody is feeling grief. How can you create joy when you have that grief? And a lot of times I've met people that would not be willing to even love when they've had a certain level of grief. It made it impossible for them to ever love again. People that didn't want to live because of this grief. We've got to tackle this. People out there, they lose hope. They become despondent. They give in to their darkest emotions. There's a way to handle this gift of grief. There's a way for us to get through it. I believe through meditation and realizing and accessing these emotions, for their primary goal is not to hold the grief in our body. If we hold the grief in our body, it can hurt our livers and our kidneys and our stomachs. Just by holding the grief. And whoever you have lost would never want this to happen to you. Grief is one of the heart's natural responses to loss. And when we grieve, we allow ourselves to feel the truth of our pain, the measure of betrayal or tragedy in our lives. And I'm coming to you in this deep state of grief to share what I've learned. And maybe by sharing this, it can help me overcome my grief as well. For whatever grief you have, let me have it. I'll hold the pain right now. And I want to take it away from you. And I want your life to have joy again. And I want it to be okay for you to feel joy. We must grieve to allow ourselves to feel the truth of our pain, the measure of betrayal or tragedy in our life. By our willingness to mourn, we slowly acknowledge, integrate, and accept the truth of our losses. My nephew that I lost, his dog was out by the lake and had gotten caught in a canal area. And my nephew tried to jump in and save his dog, but got pulled into the canal. It's just a sad story. And why do we have to suffer? Why do we see such terrible loss? We begin to feel guilty for our own survival. And it is a common emotion to feel guilt for our own survival. Can you imagine the destructive power when we realize that our mind creates reality, that we can put on a reality by holding this belief that we feel guilty for being alive? We have to deal with this head on. We have to overcome it. Now, if you're not feeling grief in your life, that is wonderful. Just hold on to this, and there'll be a day in the future. And if you have a day, then you can listen to this or give it to a friend, and hopefully it helps. Most traditional societies offer ritual and communal support to help people move through grief and loss. We need to respect our tears. Without a wise way to grieve, we can only soldier on, armored and unfeeling. But our hearts cannot learn and grow from the sorrows of the past. To meditate on grief, let yourself sit alone or with a comforting friend. You may be at a place where you can't be alone. Take the time to create an atmosphere of support. When you're ready, begin by sensing your breath and feel your breathing in the area of your chest. This can help you become present to what is within you. Take one of your hands right now and hold it gently on your heart, as if you were holding a vulnerable human being, because you are. This can help you become present to what is within you. As you continue to breathe, bring to mind the loss or pain you're grieving. Let the story, the images, the feelings come up naturally. Hold them gently. Take your time. Let the feelings come layer by layer, a little bit at a time. Keep breathing softly. Breathe compassionately. Feel those feelings of compassion that are only natural, and you do not have to push them away. Let whatever feelings are there, the pain and the tears and the anger and the love and the fear and the sorrow, come as they will. Thank them for being here. Touch them gently and let them unravel out of your body and out of your mind. Make space for any images that arise. Allow the whole story. Breathe and hold it all with tenderness and compassion. Kindness for all of it, for you and for others. This grief that we carry is part of the grief of the world. Hold it gently and let it be honored. You do not have to keep it anymore. You can let it go into your heart of compassion, and you can weep. It's just not fair sometimes. It's just not. One meditation's not going to solve everything. Sometimes this stuff, it just never goes away. but you have to release it as much as you can. Releasing the grief that we carry is a long, tear-filled process. Yet it follows the natural intelligence of the body and the heart. Trust it. Trust the unfolding. Along with meditation, some of your grief will want to be written, to be cried out at the top of your lungs. You may want to sing about it. You can dance. Let the timeless wisdom within you carry you through the grief and awaken a tender and open heart. Keep in mind that grief doesn't just dissolve. Instead, it arises in waves, and gradually, with growing compassion, there comes more space around it. The heart opens, and in its own time, little by little, gaps of new life, breaks in the rain clouds appear, and the body relaxes, and freer breaths appear. This is a natural cycle that you can trust. How life and the heart renews itself, like the spring after winter, because it always does. So let's do another moments of meditation here. Just begin by finding a relaxed position. It doesn't matter, just sit down or lie down, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Set aside a few moments just to relax for a second, okay? But let's talk a little bit, first of all, about the different kind of losses. Grief can result from a variety of losses. Some are well recognized, for example, the death of a loved one or divorce or a loss of a job. Other types of losses can be just as difficult to deal with and may be well less understood. I'm talking about relocation and pets and infertility and illnesses. I'm talking about a meditation about all this. Loss can be experienced with both negative and positive events. Any event may be positive overall, but still be associated with loss. Loss of what is familiar, loss of the old way of living. Any sort of change can be associated with these feelings. Perhaps you're dealing with a change that is reasonable, positive, and your grief is relatively simple to deal with. Maybe you're coping with a significant loss and are going through a challenging grief process. Or maybe you've experienced a huge loss that has profoundly changed your life and are having difficulty dealing with the grief. Whatever your situation, your grief is real. And it is okay, and your loss is important. And though you need time in solitude to come to terms with the loss you've experienced, it is also important to accept support from others. Reach out to someone who can offer you support. You might want to call a friend, even if you haven't spoken in a while. It's okay to ask for what you need. Often people do not know how to support you, and they feel relieved if you ask for something specific. So ask for help. Even if it is just calling a friend and asking to eat a meal together, any small act of support can help you to feel less alone. You may also find it therapeutic to journal your grief. Put it in a paper. Before thinking about your loss and beginning the process of dealing with grief, let's start by relaxing again. Continue to relax. Close your eyes and just sit or lie quietly. And continue. And as you settle in, start to grieve. Feel the breath. Breathe in and out. Feel the beating in your heart and start to breathe. Acknowledge that you are here and now. Wake up. Wake up from the movie script that you're in. You can choose however you want to feel in this moment. You are here and now in this life. Focus on your heart and your heartbeat. Feel your heart beat in your chest. Relax and acknowledge your breath, your body. Allow your heart to open, however little or as much as you wish. Feel the warmth of your breath with each exhale. Allow your neck to loosen. Let go of any restrictions. If at any point you feel the urge to let go of wounds or tears, know that this is fine. This is okay. Letting go, even a little, allows you to sit in this moment. Give yourself permission to release tension in the neck. Release any burden you feel in your shoulders. Allow yourself to accept support. Trust and know that you are supported, even when you cannot see it. Letting go of any tension on your shoulders, any burdens on your back. Allow yourself to release the load. You are strong. You are more powerful than you yourself can even imagine. It is our need to connect and be connected. As you support others, allow yourself to be supported. Allow your legs to relax. As you let go of the weight, take a deep breath, and as you breathe out, feel your body sinking into the surface you are on. Breathe slowly in and out. Breathe in. Keep breathing slowly and calmly, letting your breath relax you. Imagine that your body is a fleece blanket. Imagine that the blanket is dipped into warm water. Imagine how it would feel to be floating, suspended on the warm water, gentle waves moving around your body. Picture being lifted out of the water, the heaviness of the water stretching the blanket, stretching your body, so you're very tall. Imagine that the blanket is placed on a warm concrete surface on the sun. Imagine how it would feel to be this blanket so warm and heavy, completely limp. Steam rises from your body, warmed from beneath by the warm concrete and warmed from above by the sun. Imagine how it would feel to be this damp blanket and have the water slowly evaporating, becoming lighter and lighter. Steam rising, carrying the water away. Becoming lighter and lighter, steam rising, carrying the water away. Feel your body becoming lighter, relaxed. It's okay to be relaxed. You don't have to feel guilty for being relaxed. Totally limp. Let your body become completely relaxed. So calm, so serene. Now that you are starting to feel more relaxed, let's focus on dealing with grief. Take a moment to notice what you feel in your body. Any type of weight or blockage. If you find something, breathe into this and release whatever comes up. My words are just part of a much bigger world of support. Grief is normal. All emotions are normal. Grief is a powerful process that needs support to move along and transforms over time. I say these words with respect. I do not know exactly what grief you're experiencing. Some of what I say may resonate and some may not. Focus on the images and feelings and the words and emotions that resonate for you. If you come back to this at a later time, it may be entirely different for you. This process is not linear. With the right support, you can come through this with greater strength to change the world. I do not know what has happened or what you're feeling, but we will all be united at some time in feeling the pain of the loss of a loved one. But we must not be afraid to love. In our own time, we are all unique, and we will process this in different ways. You may feel pressure to box up your emotions. Emotions have their own timeline. If we have truly lived, you know unconditional love. Anyone who has lived will suffer a loss, some worse than others. We will at some point be reunited by the highest level of unconditional love. It is a great loss that you have lost this or this person has passed on. What would it mean to avoid this grief? To avoid grief, we would have to avoid all genuine connection and true and meaningful love. It would make all exchanges and gestures empty and meaningless. Our lives would be empty. Embrace the grief. I'm not saying to focus on it. I'm saying that when you have something that's terrible that happens, you will feel the grief. There is no way to avoid it. I'm saying that it's okay. There's a natural process, and to not pull yourself down a rabbit hole, because you have a choice. You have a choice. When it's a deep, deep grief that you're suffering from, there's two things that can happen. You can let it destroy you, or you can let it build you. And sometimes you have to make this choice every day. But if you choose to let it build you more days than the days that you choose to let it destroy you, you can get through this. Even this thing that is so terrible. And believe me, it is terrible. There is no light without shadow. Grief is one of those emotions that reminds us of what it means to live. We are not powerless. I know you feel that you are now, but we are not powerless. Grief can be alive, and it can remind us of the power of the love that it represents. Grief is a representation of the love that was between you, a fire still alive. Breathe in right now and feel that person or thing that you've lost. I just want you to feel it fully. Embrace it. Release whatever is asking to be expressed. Let it out. As you exhale, feel a little. Feel your heart, even with the aching. Your heart is still supporting your life. Your joints rest and settle with each breath. Release each muscle to the level that you wish. You will find yourself tightening muscles to avoid the feelings of grief. You can release those muscles, and you don't have to store it that way. You can let it go. If you still cannot feel and feel numb, breathe in deeper and connect to your physical body. Let your emotions flow like currents. Allow yourself to be where you are, to feel what is. At some point, the tide of these emotions will calm, I promise. No storm lasts forever. And after every rain, the rainbow always comes out. There are so many stories of transformations, of people that have taken these terrible experiences and used it to transform the people around them, and making this loss, making their life meaningful. And you can do that. The sun is always there behind the clouds on the stormiest of days. Cry. If you feel now that the time is to cry, it is okay to cry. I do not care if you're a man or a woman. There's nothing stopping you from crying. Let it go. And as you deal with this, it can be very tiring, stressed, and burned out. This can be caused by the grief process. But by breathing and by acknowledging your body, you can overcome the physical effects that it can have. It is normal to be short-tempered and have problems with memory and concentration. Just acknowledge it. These symptoms of dealing with grief can be troubling, but they're normal and they will go away. You'll gradually get back to feeling like yourself. Right now, I hope that you just continue to heal and do not give up hope. The process of dealing with grief is the same as recovering from an injury. And when a physical injury occurs, the body needs time to heal and recover. Dealing with grief is no different. The mind needs time to recover and heal, and you need the time to cope and deal with grief. Be kind to yourself and give yourself this needed time. Sometimes people who are dealing with grief feel like they're going crazy. You are not going crazy. What you're going through is normal and natural. There are several stages of grief, and it is normal to experience these stages, many of them more than once, in no particular order. It is normal to experience numbness, a time where you do not feel very much at all. This does not mean that you are insensitive or that you do not care. Rather, it's the mind's way of protecting you and a normal way of processing traumatic experience such as a loss. Numbness and shock are normal reactions. You can use the emotional freedom technique, EFT, by simply tapping on your third eye, between your brows, below your nose or at your lip, on your left cheek, at the karate part of your hand. Simply tapping those, bringing up the emotion, and tapping can help the energy flow through your body in a better way. Another stage you're going to experience, or you may experience, is anger. And that reaction is to the sense of injustice. You may find that you are angry and frustrated and upset. And it is okay to be angry when you lose something that is important to you. Angry toward the person or the thing you lost. Angry at the world, at God, at the cause of your loss. You may even feel angry toward others who have not been through what you have. Not all of the anger is rational, and that is because you're grieving. People who are dealing with grief do not always think rationally. Your thinking will become more clear as you cope with grief. The passage of time will help to decrease the irrational thoughts and the extreme anger. With time, you will see meaning. You will probably go through a stage of questioning, wondering why, trying to get answers. It can be hard to understand why losses happen. As part of the process of dealing with grief, you may seek answers as to why the loss happened and try to make sense of what occurred. You may find yourself bargaining, trying to make deals with others, with yourself or with God, to try to make things go back to the way they were before the loss happened. Questioning and bargaining are normal parts of dealing with grief. Another stage is loneliness and sadness, and this is a time of low energy, feeling slowed down and sad. It's okay. During this time, it's hard to focus and concentrate. You experience memory problems, like you're not yourself. It's normal to feel this way because you're grieving. It is okay to feel sad and upset when you experience a loss. These feelings can be very intense and painful. And while you're getting through this pain, remember that this will gradually decrease as you heal. Even though it may feel like the sadness will go on and on, you will not feel this way forever. Acceptance is another stage of grief, and during this stage, you begin to recreate a new life in the aftermath of the loss. You begin to accept that things have changed and that your life is not different. Maybe not better, maybe not worse, but just different. Acceptance is the act of coming to realization that the loss has occurred. It is normal to proceed through these stages in a non-linear order. You might experience acceptance, then return to anger, and back to acceptance. You have the right to grieve. You can get through this. You will feel better, and you will make a new life. Your new life will be different than the life you planned, but you cannot always plan for losses. It's okay to experience a variety of emotions, and it is okay to be angry. It is okay to be sad. It is okay to feel relief, and you still do care even if you feel relieved in some ways. It is okay to feel guilty. It is okay to feel impatient, to get upset at things that seem small and insignificant. You're going through a hard time, and confusing mixed feelings is completely normal. You're coping. You are dealing with grief, and you will come out the other side stronger. You did not deserve this loss. It is not your fault. You are dealing with a situation that is challenging and difficult, perhaps devastating, and you cannot be expected to be over this immediately. There may be any reason why things happened this way. Many of the things that happen in life do not make sense. You can grow and become stronger as a result of these challenges. And I will try, even though there is no good explanation as to why you had to go through such difficult times. Even after you have dealt with the grief, you'll have times where you feel like you're right back where you started. And this is normal. Everyone has their own way of going through this process. If you need to cry or not, that's fine. Be more busy or less busy. Grieve in your own way. You need time to be quiet and solitude to come to terms with the loss you've experienced. You might want to call a friend that you haven't spoken to in a while. Ask for help. Take good care of yourself. Eat well. Get exercise. Try to keep a regular sleep schedule. Now, if you want to just take a moment just to be with the feelings you have, just to allow the grief, face the emotions, and accept that you're grieving, I will pause for another moment. And during this time, during this minute, you may choose to just relax and breathe deeply. Or you might decide, just go with the emotions and have the experience of grief. Let's do this again. Do whatever feels right for you right now. If you need more time, go ahead and pause the audio and resume whenever you are ready. Learn to become relaxed and at peace with relaxation. It is okay for you to be relaxed right now, to allow you to get a break from the grief that you are going through. Focus on your breathing for a few more moments, breathing slowly in and out. In and out. Relaxing. create a picture in your mind, imagining a peaceful place where you have no worries. You may picture a comfortable room, quiet and peaceful. Imagine that the room is warm and has a comfortable place to sit or lie down where you can relax. Imagine sitting or lying down, maybe on a pile of soft pillows, releasing all your worries with a sigh. In this room, you have no cares, no worries, no problems, nothing to worry about or think about at all. This is a place where you can completely relax. You can take a break here, even just for a few moments, to get away from all of the stress and tension. Picture this room in your mind. What does the room look like? Create a detailed image of this room in your mind. So comfortable, complete serenity. You can return to this room in your imagination when you need a break, whenever you need to relax. Whenever things get difficult and you just need a rest, you can picture this room in your mind. Don't let the feelings overwhelm you. Now, I just want to conclude this exercise and this meditation. It's time to come back to your body to reawaken or to drift off to sleep. I'll count now from 5 to 1, and if you decide to wake up, let yourself become more and more awake with each number until at 1, you are fully awake and alert. And if you decide to sleep, become sleepier with each number until you are deeply asleep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is okay for you to have joy. Do not feel guilty for feeling joy, for you have this one life, and it is your purpose and to have joy. Whoever and whatever you lost did not want to take away your joy. And right now, for the next few moments, I just want you to feel the joy. Very good. As you sit in the joy, if you're going through grief right now, my heart goes out to you. I feel you. I know what's going on. It's going to be okay. Just come back to this. I send you all my joy. From now till the end of time, for whoever hears this recording, my joy goes out to all of you. Thank you for joining the reality revolution.